The translucent alien creature recoils when Dr. Tyler Burns extends his hand through the robotic manipulator arm of the Nautilus Prime. But in that moment of hesitation, something changes in her bioluminescent eyes, a flash of recognition that perhaps not all surface dwellers mean harm. At 36,000 feet beneath the Pacific Ocean, the crushing pressure of the Mariana Trench tests the structural limits of humanity's most advanced deep-sea research vessel. The year is 2157, and the Nautilus Prime's reinforced viewport reveals a sight no human has ever documented. A critically injured Ledosian, pinned beneath the twisted ruins of what appears to be an ancient underwater structure, victim of a recent seismic disturbance. Dr. Burns studies the readings on his console, acutely aware that his next decision could alter the course of human history. The female Ledosian's vital signs are fading. Her translucent skin pulses with weakening bioluminescent patterns, a haunting display of life slowly ebbing away in the absolute darkness of the ocean's deepest realm. Commander Richard Hayes's orders echo in Burns's mind. Report any alien contact immediately to military command. No exceptions. But there isn't time. The injured Ledosian, whom he would later know as Lita, needs immediate medical intervention. The vessel's emergency medical pod, designed for treating severe cases of decompression sickness, might be her only chance. Burns initiates the rescue sequence, knowing full well he's violating both human protocol and, as he'd soon learn, Ledosian law. Their society, traumatized by violent encounters with surface dwellers on their home world, has maintained strict isolation protocols during centuries of secret observation of human civilization. As the robotic arms carefully begin lifting the debris, movement catches Burns's eye. Emerging from the darkness, dozens of Ledosian warriors materialize, their advanced energy weapons casting an eerie glow through the murky depths. The Nautilus Prime's crew of 15 watches in tense silence as more guards appear, surrounding the vessel in a display of defensive authority that makes clear humanity's first official contact with their aquatic neighbors might well be their last. Burns continues his work, trying to ignore the weapons trained on the vessel's hull. Inside the medical pod, Lita's alien physiology presents a challenge unlike anything covered in his years of marine biology training. Her translucent skin reveals organs arranged in patterns that defy terrestrial evolution, and her bioluminescent signals fluctuate in what he assumes are distress patterns. As he works to stabilize her condition, Burns knows the stakes extend far beyond this single act of compassion. His choice has placed the Nautilus Prime at the center of a potential underwater conflict that could threaten coastal human settlements worldwide. Yet as he observes Lita's bioluminescence gradually stabilizing, he sees something in her alien features that transcends species barriers, a glimmer of trust, perhaps the first step toward breaking down centuries of isolation and fear. Burns's attention snaps to the medical readouts as Lita's bioluminescent patterns shift. The display screens flicker with incoming data, revealing molecular structures that trigger his recognition. The pressure readaptation mechanisms in her cellular structure mirror those found in Earth's hadal snailfish and other deep-sea creatures. These protein chains, he mutters, fingers flying across the medical console. They're analogous to our trimethylamine treatments for decompression. He modifies the pod's medication protocols, adjusting the mixture to match her alien biology. As he works, his eyes catch distinctive markings across her translucent skin, intricate patterns that pulse with a faint blue glow. The symbols match photographs in his research archives of supposedly prehistoric ruins found near the Mariana Ridge. A sharp bang against the hull interrupts his concentration. Through the viewport, a new figure approaches, larger than the other warriors, adorned with ceremonial markings that ripple with authority. The Ledosian guards part, their weapons still trained on the Nautilus. Dr. Burns, Commander Hayes's voice crackles through the intercom. Surface Command is monitoring. They're ordering immediate withdrawal and preparation for military response. Wait, Burns responds, watching as the new arrival signals to the warriors. Something's changing out there. A metallic click echoes through the chamber as Lita's translation device activates. The imposing Ledosian's voice translates in measured tones. I am High Commander Mako. The one you treat is my niece, lead archaeologist Lita of the Third Settlement. Burns glances at Lita's vital signs before responding. She's stabilizing, but I need more time. Our oxygen processing facility lies in ruins, Mako continues. 10,000 of my people face suffocation within days. Chief Engineer Thompson's voice cuts in through the ship's comm. Doctor, the Nautilus's oxygen systems could be modified to support their settlement. We have the technology. That's a violation of direct orders, Security Officer Walker interrupts. We need to secure the vessel, and Lita's eyes flutter open, her bioluminescence pulsing with renewed strength. Her translator crackles to life. The ruins. They prove we weren't always apart. Her trembling hand points to the ancient structure that had trapped her. Surface dwellers and Ledosians. We worked together once. Burns examines the medical readouts. Commander Hayes, Lita's recovery proves our physiologies are compatible enough for medical cooperation. We could save thousands. Surface vessels detected, Walker reports. Military response incoming. 4 to 4 hours until arrival. Thompson's voice carries an edge of urgency. The oxygen system modifications would take at least 30 hours. If we're going to act, it has to be now. Through the viewport, High Commander Mako approaches closer, his warriors shifting uneasily. Their weapons remain raised, but Burns notices subtle changes in their bioluminescent patterns, uncertainty replacing hostility. Your care for my niece demonstrates honor, Mako says. But our laws of isolation, a warning alarm blares through the Nautilus. Oxygen levels in the Ledosian settlement dropping faster than projected, Thompson reports. Their backup systems are failing. Burns watches Lita's vital signs strengthen as his modified treatment takes effect. The ancient symbols on her skin pulse in rhythm with her recovering systems, each pattern matching archived images of ruins he'd studied for years. In those symbols, he sees the connection between their species that time and fear had erased. High Commander Mako's next words cut through the tension. What do you require to modify your oxygen systems? We'll need to reconfigure the Nautilus's backup oxygen units, Burns says, meeting Mako's gaze through the viewport. Chief Thompson, can you? Already analyzing the possibilities, Thompson interrupts, his fingers dancing across the engineering console. Doctor. Burns, these medical readings from Lita, the molecular structures in her respiratory system, might be exactly what we need. Their bioprocessing capabilities at this depth are remarkable. Burns turns to Lita, who has pushed herself to a sitting position in the medical pod. Her bioluminescent patterns pulse with increasing strength as she activates her translator. Our technologies were meant to work together. Look. She gestures to the ancient symbols on her skin, then to identical markings on a partially exposed wall of the ruins. These aren't just decorative, they're technical specifications. The Nautilus's systems ping with an urgent alert. A new voice cuts through the command channel. Surface Command patching through an emergency update. 3 Chinese vessels detected on approach, Commander Hayes announces, his voice tight. Planned deep-sea research ships, heavily armed. They've picked up our position. High Commander Mako's bioluminescence shifts to patterns Burns hasn't seen before. This complicates matters. Our settlement's oxygen levels are dropping faster than projected. We cannot risk hostile surface forces discovering our location. There may be a solution, Lita says, interfacing with the medical pod's computer. Images flash across the screen, detailed schematics of ancient diving suits, unlike anything in human historical records. These ruins aren't the only evidence of our past cooperation. Our ancestors found ways to work together, adapt each other's technologies. Thompson's voice carries new urgency. Commander, if we combine their bioprocessing capabilities with our backup oxygen systems, we could create something new, a hybrid system capable of supporting their settlement. A proximity alarm sounds. Through the viewport, Burns watches a small submersible pod approaching, escorted by Ledosian guards. The pod bears U.S. Navy markings. Dr. James Morrison, Hayes explains, deep-sea geological expert from the USS Hawking. His analysis confirms what their sensors detected: the seismic activity isn't over. The pod docks, and Morrison emerges into the Nautilus's airlock. His face is grim as he reviews the sensor data. The thermal vents powering the Ledosian settlement are destabilizing. Another major tremor is building, 24 hours maximum before their habitat becomes uninhabitable. Security Officer Walker's voice breaks in. Commander, you need to see this. His transmission includes data streams from his security sweep. Working with their security specialist Coral, we've found evidence of unauthorized mining operations, deep core drilling that matches the earthquake's epicenter. Burns watches Lita's expression as she processes the translation. Her bioluminescence dims momentarily before flaring with intensity. Private military contractors, she says. We've detected their intrusions before, but never this deep. We need to move quickly, Thompson says, already beginning modifications to the oxygen systems. Dr. Burns, I need Lita's assistance to integrate their bioprocessing technology with our equipment. Burns helps Lita from the medical pod. Her movements are stronger now, but she needs support as they make their way to engineering. Behind them, Hayes and Mako begin discussing the logistics of moving diplomatic talks to a secure Ledosian facility closer to the surface. In engineering, Thompson has exposed the Nautilus's backup oxygen processing cores. Lita's bioluminescence pulses with recognition as she examines the equipment. Yes, she says, interfacing with the systems through her translator. The molecular adaptation protocols in your medical pod, we can apply similar principles here. The work begins, a race against failing oxygen levels, approaching military vessels, and the rumbling threat of another earthquake. As Burns assists with the integration of human and Ledosian technology, he notices how naturally their distinct approaches complement each other, as if the knowledge had simply been waiting to be rediscovered. A tremor shakes the Nautilus, smaller than before but a clear warning of what's to come. Through the hull, the deep-sea darkness holds both promise and threat. The hope of unprecedented cooperation and the approaching shadows of surface-world warships that could end it all. A rapid series of beeps from Thompson's workstation draws Burns's attention. The engineer's eyes widen as he studies the readouts from the hybrid oxygen system's pressure regulators. Dr. Burns, take a look at these molecular signatures, Thompson says, gesturing to his screen. They're not matching any known compounds in our database. Lita leans forward, her bioluminescence pulsing with interest as she examines the data. Her translator processes her response. These trace elements, they're present throughout our settlement's water supply. Dr. Victor Kane's voice cuts through the ship's comm system. The materials scientist from the approaching USS Hawking speaks with awe-inspiring excitement. My team is picking up the same signatures. This could be an entirely new rare Earth element. Before Burns can respond, proximity alerts blare through the Nautilus. Through the viewport, 3 Chinese vessels emerge from the darkness, their running lights cutting through the murky water. Chinese vessels on final approach, Walker reports, reading active scanning. The tension spikes until a calm voice broadcasts across all channels. This is Captain Wei Zhang of the Jia Along Fleet. We're detecting severe geological instability in your sector. Our seismic data indicates an imminent underwater landslide. Commander Hayes patches the Chinese data through to the Nautilus's main display. The readouts paint a grim picture: a massive section of the continental shelf, destabilized by unauthorized drilling, teeters on the brink of collapse. Those mining signatures, Coral says, working alongside Walker at the security station. They match Global Core Industries' extraction patterns. We've tracked similar operations across the Pacific. Dr. Morrison pulls up his own geological scans, overlaying them with the Chinese data. The destabilization is accelerating. We have hours at most before that entire cliff face gives way. High Commander Mako's bioluminescence shifts to urgent patterns. Our settlement lies directly in the slide's path, and if it triggers, tsunamis, Morrison finishes. Every coastal city in the Pacific would be at risk. Burns watches as Lita accesses the ancient structural diagrams from the ruins. Here, she says, indicating complex schematics. Our ancestors developed vibration-dampening technology. Combined with your drilling techniques, we might be able to stabilize the shelf. The next hour passes in a blur of activity. Morrison coordinates with Captain Zhang's chief engineer, Dr. Liu, while Ledosian expert Marina provides crucial data about the seabed's composition. Burns helps Thompson integrate their stabilization equipment with the Ledosian technology, but a violent tremor rocks the Nautilus before they can complete the modifications. Primary power failing, Thompson announces as emergency lights flicker on. The stabilization equipment won't function without direct intervention. Burns examines the ancient diagrams still displayed on Lita's screen, detailed schematics of pressure suits unlike anything in human diving history. These suits, he says, they were designed for joint operations between our species. Yes, Lita confirms. The ruins tell of humans and Ledosians working together to prevent a similar crisis. High Commander Mako signals to a slender Ledosian with intricate technical markings. Naira is our finest pressure rescue technician. She can modify one of the ancient suits for your physiology. Burns studies the seismic data. The numbers leave no room for hesitation. How quickly can we get it ready? Naira's bioluminescence pulses with technical calculations as she examines Burns's measurements. Her translator conveys rapid-fire specifications to Thompson, who begins the modifications immediately. The deck shudders with another tremor as Naira helps Burns into the modified suit. The ancient technology responds to his movements, layers of advanced pressure regulation systems adapting to his human form. The stabilization must be precise, Marina warns through the comm system. One miscalculation could accelerate the collapse. Through the viewport, Burns sees the Chinese and American vessels holding position, their lights illuminating the darkness. The combined resources of three civilizations now depend on technology created centuries ago by their forgotten alliance. Naira makes a final adjustment to the suit's pressure seals. A warning tremor vibrates through the hull as Burns approaches the airlock. The untested suit represents his only protection against the crushing depths. Burns sealed the ancient pressure suit's final connection and stepped into the airlock. The hybrid technology hummed against his skin as pressure equalization began. Through the viewport, he caught a last glimpse of Naira's bioluminescent patterns, technical data still streaming as she monitored the suit's systems. The outer door opened. Burns pushed off into the dark water, and his perception shifted dramatically. The suit's neural interface activated, flooding his senses with new awareness. Water pressure registered not as readings on a display, but as an intuitive understanding of the crushing forces surrounding him. Current patterns became visible streams of data, changing the darkness into a complex map of flowing energy. Neural interface operating at optimal levels, Thompson's voice came through the comm. Your vital signs are stable, proceeding with descent route calculations. The cliff face loomed ahead, its unstable mass now visible through the suit's enhanced sensory systems. Burns activated his thrusters, adjusting course based on his newfound environmental awareness. Thermal vent field detected ahead, Thompson warned. The mining operations boreholes have created unstable pressure pockets, sending safe route coordinates now. Burns approached the vent field, watching superheated water burst from compromised boreholes. The suit's sensors mapped each eruption, revealing dangerous pressure patterns. Through the neural interface, he felt rather than saw the safe path threading between the vents. "Dr. Burns, are you seeing this?" Dr. Kane's excitement cut through the comm channel. "The aquanite deposits are absorbing thermal energy from the vents. That's how the Ledosian settlement maintained stability all these years." Before Burns could respond, a violent thermal burst forced him to dodge. The neural interface translated the movement of water into instant action, his body responding before conscious thought. Marina's voice joined the channel. "High Commander Mako has authorized our engineering team to assist. We're deploying now." 4 Ledosian figures emerged from the darkness, their natural bioluminescence pulsing in sync with their equipment. Coral, their security specialist, moved ahead to scan the cliff face. "Multiple secure anchor points identified," she reported. "The mining operation left these sections intact." They began placing resonance devices along the cliff, racing against increasing seismic activity. Burns's neural interface translated each tremor into a full-body awareness of the growing instability. A massive shudder rocked the seafloor. Burns spun in the water as sections of rock broke free above him. Marina shot forward, pushing him toward a narrow ravine. They tumbled into the crevice as debris rained down, sealing their exit. Temperature rising rapidly, Marina's translator conveyed urgency. "Large aquanite deposit beneath us is becoming unstable." Burns's suit sensors confirmed they were trapped above a massive mineral vein, reacting to thermal stress. The neural interface transmitted the surrounding heat as uncomfortable pressure against his skin. "Dr. Morrison, reporting you have less than 2 hours before catastrophic collapse." Captain Zhang's vessels are moving to support positions, but thermal vent turbulence is making approach difficult. Burns scanned their surroundings, the suit's sensors penetrating layers of rock. The neural interface suddenly lit up with new data-regular patterns within the cliff face. "Marina, are you seeing this? These tunnels. They're artificial." Marina's bioluminescence pulsed with recognition as she analyzed the structures. Ancient construction techniques, the reinforcement material primitive aquanite composites, the original human-Ledosian collaboration, Burns realized, studying the tunnel network through his enhanced senses. They built this as a stabilization system. The suit's pressure tolerance wasn't tested for these conditions, Thompson warned. "Those tunnels are reading extreme compression forces." A new tremor shook the ravine. Marina's sensors indicated rising heat levels from the aquanite deposit below. Through the neural interface, Burns felt the tunnel system like a three-dimensional map embedded in his awareness. "No choice," he transmitted. "We're going in." Thompson, maintain sensor contact as long as possible. Burns activated the suit's enhanced pressure systems as Marina led the way into the nearest tunnel entrance. Ancient symbols lined the walls, their meaning now clear through his Ledosian enhanced perception. Behind them, security feeds showed global core vessels approaching the surface fleet. The tunnel curved deeper into the cliff face, every surface reinforced with early aquanite technology. Burns's neural interface translated centuries of pressure forces into tactile sensation as they pushed forward, seeking both escape and salvation in the engineering works of their forgotten alliance. The tunnels opened into a vast chamber, its walls gleaming with crystalline formations. Burns's neural interface processed the surroundings, transforming raw sensor data into comprehensible patterns. Marina's bioluminescence cast shifting shadows across ancient machinery and preserved artifacts remnants of the first human-Ledosian collaboration. "These structures," Marina transmitted, touching a wall panel that hummed with latent energy. The aquanite reinforcement has maintained perfect integrity. Burns approached a crystalline matrix embedded in the chamber wall. The neural interface responded, connecting him to streams of historical data stored within the crystal lattice. They built an entire stabilization network. The fault lines they mapped and reinforced all of them. The comm system crackled. "Burns, we have a situation up here." Commander Hayes's voice carried tension. Global Core launched automated drilling platforms. They're trying to extract remaining aquanite deposits. Captain Zhang's voice joined the channel. "Chinese vessels moving to intercept. We're coordinating with Commander Hayes to establish a blockade." Through his neural link, Burns accessed more of the chamber's stored data. The crystal matrices revealed detailed schematics of the original stabilization system. Dr. Kane's voice cut through his concentration. "The vibration patterns from Global Core's drilling, if we reverse the resonance through the aquanite deposits, we could channel that energy to reinforce the cliff structure." Thompson's voice followed. "Dr. Burns, Naira and I are seeing new data from your suit telemetry. The ancient technology, we can integrate it to enhance your pressure tolerance." Burns studied the chamber's layout. Aquanite-lined conduits branched outward like nerve fibers, disappearing into the rock. These conduits connect to the entire cliff system. "We could use them to distribute the stabilizing energy. Depth readings from those conduits exceed Ledosian's survival limits," Marina warned, her bioluminescence pulsing with concern. A violent tremor shook the chamber. Dr. Morrison's voice carried urgency. "The drilling's affecting the thermal vent system. Temperature near the settlement is rising rapidly." "Global Core vessels are withdrawing," Walker reported. "Surface forces received proof of their prior knowledge of the Ledosian settlement. They're facing immediate military intervention." Burns activated the modified suit's enhanced sensors, mapping the conduit network. The neural interface rendered complex pressure dynamics into intuitive patterns. He located the primary distribution node sealed behind a pressure barrier at crushing depth. "Beginning final suit modifications," Naira transmitted. "Integrating ancient pressure compensation systems." The chamber shuddered as another tremor hit. Burns and Marina started positioning resonance devices at key points identified in the historical data. Surface vessels coordinated with Ledosian engineers, preparing to channel energy through the aquanite network. "The original collaboration," Marina transmitted while calibrating a device. "These records show it didn't end in conflict. Surface groups seeking aquanite control forced them apart." "Just like Global Core," Burns responded, the neural interface translating his thoughts into clear transmission. History cycling back. A massive shock wave rocked the chamber. Sections of the tunnel system collapsed behind them. Warning indicators flared across Burns's neural display as pressure surged. He found himself trapped in a rapidly compressing space, the modified suit groaning under forces it was never meant to withstand. "Suit pressure approaching critical," Lita's voice carried clear concern. "But the neural interface, it's adapting. Your autonomic responses are synchronizing with the suit systems, similar to Ledosian pressure adaptation." Burns felt that the neural interface wasn't just translating sensor data anymore. His body was responding to the crushing depth in new ways, working in perfect harmony with the ancient technology. The pathway ahead offered two choices: attempt an emergency ascent through unstable tunnels, or descend deeper into the conduit system to complete the stabilization. High Commander Mako's voice resonated through all channels. "Ledosian defense forces are mobilizing at full capacity. We stand ready to assist." The modified suit hummed against Burns's skin as pressure continued building. Through the neural interface, he studied the conduit system's layout. The stabilization node pulsed in his enhanced vision, deep in the darkness below. Water pressure squeezed the chamber, and time for making a choice grew short. Marina activated her own pressure systems, preparing to follow his lead. The fate of two civilizations now rested on finding the right path through the ancient engineering that had once united them. Burns locked eyes with Marina through her bioluminescent membranes. Down. We go down. He engaged his thrusters, angling toward the depths. The neural interface translated the crushing pressure into waves of sensation across his body as they descended through the conduit entrance. Marina's natural glow illuminated ancient markings along the tunnel walls, their meanings now clear through Burns's enhanced perception. Approaching first node, Marina transmitted, her tendrils brushing across a crystalline formation. Activating resonance sequence. Burns placed the device against the aquanite-infused wall. The neural interface registered an immediate response, waves of energy pulsing through the surrounding rock. Each activated node created ripples of stabilizing force that he could feel through the suit systems. Energy distribution at 15%, Dr. Kane's voice crackled through the weakening calm. The aquanite is absorbing and redirecting thermal stress exactly as theorized. A violent shudder rocked the tunnel. Through his enhanced senses, Burns detected global core vessels moving into position above. Multiple autonomous units detected, Commander Hayes transmitted. They're launching mining drones equipped with experimental sonic drilling technology. Chinese vessels moving to intercept, Captain Zhang responded, requesting targeting data from Ledosian defense platforms. Burns and Marina pushed deeper into the conduit system, each movement precisely calculated through the neural interface. The suit system synchronized with his autonomic responses, adapting to pressures that should have crushed him. He felt the changes in his nervous system, new patterns of perception emerging as human physiology merged with Ledosian engineering. Doctor. Burns, your neural readings are evolving. Thompson's voice carried notes of fascination. The interface is triggering adaptive responses we've never seen before. Another node activated under Marina's touch. Burns felt the resonance building through the cliff structure, each point strengthening the others in an expanding network. Dr. Kane's excitement cut through the static. The mineral matrix itself reinforcing. The entire stabilization system grows stronger with each activation. These patterns suggest deliberate engineering for long-term enhancement. A massive electromagnetic pulse washed through the water. Burns's neural interface flickered as communications temporarily failed. When they restored, High Commander Mako's voice filled the channel. Global core drones neutralized. We've shared our EMP technology with surface forces. The threat is contained. Burns and Marina reached a vast spherical chamber deep within the cliff face. Ancient machinery lined the walls, still humming with latent energy after centuries underwater. In the center, a massive crystalline structure pulsed with stored power. The master control node, Marina transmitted, her bioluminescence shifting to technical patterns. It requires dual-species activation. Burns approached the crystal matrix. His neural interface registered complex biosignatures encoded in the activation mechanism. The changes in his nervous system responded to the ancient technology, creating patterns that matched the required human component while remaining distinctly his own. Walker reporting global core leadership in custody. International courts are recognizing Ledosian territorial claims. Marina positioned herself opposite Burns at the control node. Their combined biosignatures triggered cascading responses through the crystal structure. Burns felt the power building through his enhanced senses as centuries-old machinery awakened. Major seismic event incoming, Dr. Morrison warned. All vessels brace for impact. The master control system surged to life, drawing energy from surrounding aquanite deposits. Burns's neural interface translated the power flow into visible streams of force spreading through the cliff face. Marina's bioluminescence synchronized with the rising energy as human and Ledosian technology merged once again. Through the suit systems, Burns registered the approaching tremor as a wall of pressure moving through the rock. The activated nodes pulsed in response, their combined resonance building toward a crucial moment. Surface vessels and Ledosian structures adjusted position, preparing for the underwater shock wave that would test centuries of engineering. Burns reached for the crystal matrix as the tremor approached, his neural interface registering the massive seismic wave rolling through the cliff structure. Marina moved opposite him, her tendrils extending toward the ancient controls. Their hands met on the crystalline surface, and the chamber erupted in streams of light that matched Marina's bioluminescent patterns. The crystal interface pulsed beneath their touch, recognizing their combined biosignatures. Energy cascaded through the surrounding machinery as centuries-old systems surged to life. Burns's neural interface translated the power flow into visible networks spreading through the rock, each activated node, joining a growing web of stabilizing resonance. The tremor hit with devastating force. The chamber shuddered as waves of pressure crashed through the cliff face. Burns felt each surge through his enhanced nervous system, watching as the reinforced structure channeled the seismic energy through the aquanite deposits. The ancient technology performed exactly as designed, dispersing the destructive force harmlessly into the surrounding water. Warning indicators flooded Burns's neural display. The intense pressure exposure overwhelmed his suit's compensators, sending spikes of pain through his modified nervous system. Marina's bioluminescence shifted to patterns of alarm as his vitals destabilized. "Your neural interface is failing," she transmitted. Without hesitation, she detached her personal pressure regulation module. "I won't watch another human die helping us." Before Burns could protest, Marina connected her module to his suit systems. His pain immediately subsided, but Marina's own bioluminescence dimmed as she exposed herself to the crushing depth. Thompson to Burns, "We've got your position. Modified transport pod incoming with emergency extraction team." The rescue pod pierced the darkness, its lights illuminating Naira at the controls with Thompson directing from the secondary station. They executed a precise docking procedure with the chamber's emergency airlock. As the pod carried them upward, Burns's enhanced nervous system began stabilizing into new patterns. The neural interface had permanently altered his brain structure, adapting him to perceive the deep ocean environment in ways previously exclusive to Ledosians. Thompson's medical scans confirmed the transformation. "Remarkable," Thompson transmitted. "Your nervous system has integrated aspects of Ledosian pressure adaptation. You're becoming a biological bridge between our species." 3 months later, Burns stood in the neutral meeting facility as Surface Nation representatives signed the Human-Ledosian Cooperation Treaty. Lita's presence beside him carried special significance. Their journey from a chance rescue to serving as primary ambassadors embodied the spirit of the agreement. High Commander Mako approached, carrying an ornate pressure suit that merged ancient designs with modern technology. "This suit contains adaptations of our earliest pressure systems," he transmitted, presenting it to Burns. "It will allow you unrestricted access to our settlements while honoring your unique position between our peoples." The ancient chamber, now housing the first joint Human-Ledosian Research Center, hummed with activity. Burns monitored data streams through his enhanced perception as research teams studied newly uncovered historical records. Lita coordinated with surface scientists, their shared work revealing more secrets of humanity's forgotten partnership with the Ledosians. "New site detected," Lita transmitted, highlighting scan data. Ancient construction patterns match those from the stabilization network. Burns adjusted his adapted pressure suit, preparing for another descent. Their research vessel carried a mixed crew of humans and Ledosians, a sight that would have seemed impossible mere months ago. As they descended toward the site, bioluminescent patterns filled the surrounding water. Ledosian celebrations, welcoming their return to the depths.